guys, Tambo here with your Week 4 core report. Our cores have been on fire this season, and our guy Hoop nailed the Week 4 strategy, stacking up the Lions and Seahawks game. Hoop went cheap at quarterback, rostering Geno Smith with the double stack of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. He then went full onslaught for the game by adding Jamal Williams, TJ Hawkinson, and Josh Reynolds from the Detroit side. Hoop topped off his lineup with several one-offs, including Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, and the Eagles D, racking up a score of 252 DraftKings points with a unique lineup that actually took out a 33-man dupe train, shipping the Hoopster $1 million in the Week 4 Millie Maker. Several of the players from Hoop's lineup appeared in his core plays and cash player pool provided to our premium members, who also had some pretty big weeks. MC won over 3K on DraftKings, Raholman hit for over 5K, Nika hit for over 6K, and Chase Addy NC shipped for over $45,000 on FanDuel. And Hoop isn't the only expert to hit big recently. JT Hayes hit for $20,000 in MLB last week. BigT hit once again, profiting over $33,000 on the NFL Week 4 afternoon slate. And our guy Locks had a huge night, shipping for over $213,000 on the Sunday Night Showdown slate. You can watch all of our experts for free by visiting our YouTube channel and subscribing right now. For our premium content, where you can access all of our core plays, playbook, Discord, premium videos, and more, visit runpuresports.com and sign up for a membership today. At RPS, every sport is included for one low price. Sign up for our premium membership today, and let's keep running pure.
It's the Monday edition of the Print Factory, and I know that you guys have been waiting here for a little while. Trust me, this is not intentional. We're not moving the times around to try and make you wait or get people in. Maybe we are, who knows? But anyway, listen, it's the Monday Print Factory. I hope everybody's having a great Monday. Thank you for being here. You know the rules, right? You know the rules. You come in, you open up, you type in Run Pure Sports YouTube. Maybe you have it bookmarked. In fact, stop what you're doing. If you don't, it's easy. Just go ahead, bookmark it on your browser, whatever it is. This way you can come right in. And when you come in, you hit the like button. I know you have already subscribed, even the trolls, because you're in here watching every show. We thank you. We love you, even for being here. But hit the like button. I'm glad to see we're off to a pretty good start. 251 likes. We're going to be here for a little while talking about this game tonight. You get to 750 likes. If you get to 750 likes, we're going to give away a free month of Run Pure to the person who hits the 750th like. Very simple. We've got the advanced analytics tech behind the scenes, all that stuff. But let me start with, it just becomes silly to say at this point. I'm not going to congratulate you because this is expected. Actually, I'm a little disappointed that you didn't ship a milli yesterday. I mean, 130K. So what? No big deal. You cashed on DraftKings, even with a little bit of bad luck. BigT 44 DFS, Tony Niehaus. How's your Monday doing? I know that Sunday went pretty well for you.
Yeah, it was good, and hopefully I helped some members on the site too, because it just happened that it doesn't happen every week. Some weeks you hit with your 150, and everyone says you can't lose with 150, blah blah blah. Yesterday just happened to be my core on the site, which is always our main team over at Run Pure. Just happened to be basically the nuts on both sites and it was a different build too than a lot of the people that did well yesterday, because a lot of the running backs did good yesterday, which was fine. That wasn't my build though. I was more on like I've been all year, more on the spend up receivers. And luckily with my construction, like no one played the Bills double stack, which I played our boy Tupac Shakur and Gabe Davis. It's always nice to start the slate with a 98-yard touchdown. That makes things easier. But by doing that, I had all three of those guys under 10% owned. And then Justin Jefferson was under 4% owned for the best receiver in football. As our boy Tambo says, that's something I might be interested in. And on FanDuel, the difference was the pricing's a little looser. So I was able to play Cooper Kupp yesterday with Jefferson, with the Bill stack. I mean, on FanDuel, are you kidding me, JT? I can play a Bills double with the two best receivers in football. I mean, how is that even legal? And it just so happens it worked out, and they all were low owned. My highest owned guy of that Bills double stack Cup Jefferson was 14% Cooper Kupp. Like, sometimes we overcomplicate playing this DFS stuff. Like, you're telling me I can get the best quarterback in football double stack with Gabe Davis, who's shown as much upside as anyone in DFS the last 2 years, the two best receivers in football, and my running backs weren't even that bad either. Jeff Wilson and Mostert, who I've been saying Mostert's going to crush for a long time now. He got one touchdown taken off the board. I don't know. It was just a day where everything came together. The difference was on DK, like you said, I still did well, but I had Damian Harris instead of Mostert. That was kind of the pivot there. And my receiver Woods sucked too. So the 2v2 on my DK team was bad. I mean, both of them were not good and didn't get that high up. New England's defense was obviously key too. But yeah, good week. I think a lot of the members did well too. We gave out Locks and Hoop gave out a bunch of tickets. We should give out a ticket tonight on the month. Should we give out one to the crew if we get some likes?
I think
What's
so.
the tournament tonight on DK? What's like the 222? It's 500K. What do you think? You want to give out a couple on here? Should we give some?
Let's do that. Let's do the 222. And why don't we do that? Because we said, right, 750, that gets you a free month. If you're the person that hits 750, we'll worry about how we figure that out later. But what I would say is, yeah, let's get to 600. You want to do it at 600? You think that's fair? It's a little bit of a stretch goal, but we got 558 watching. People are going to come in, hit the like button. If you're making good comments, you want to do it in the YouTube Discord, or you want to do it on the live show chat?
Let's do it for the people. I mean, we did members all weekend. We'll give one to the members too. How about that? We'll do two on the live show, or on the YouTube chat, where, I don't know, say something that we laugh at in the YouTube chat for the people. Anyone can win this. Two of those, 222s, only if we hit, what'd you say, 600 likes?
600.
750 likes for the second one. And the third one, we'll just give in the live show chat. I mean, we don't have to hit any numbers, obviously, for the members because they're already in the Discord, which everyone should be. I mean, if you're not in the Discord, that's the best part of Run Pure. So many sharp people in there 24 hours a day. But we'll do one for sure in there. So 3 total tickets. Is that good?
Absolutely.
Good mojo?
And it's fantastic mojo. The mojo yesterday on the Wood Show, I lost track of how many tickets Hoop gave away. I mean, he gave away K-Philippe Burner got one. Swint got one. He turned it into a top 50 finish in the 333. So a nice 10X there. He gets the ticket. He makes the most of it. Now he said he's got a nice bankroll for this week, the next couple of weeks. And because Whistles, for you guys wondering, Whistles, he's working on his algorithms. He hopefully is going to be able to hop on here in a little bit. He may have gotten stuck in the cooling room, but I think he's going to be able to get out. So we'll see if he gets in. But we'll talk just a few minutes about yesterday, because you mentioned one of the things, and Simon and I were talking about this, and we know that Simon hit part of the Millie Maker ship last week on a showdown. And I said, yeah, I had Josh Allen. I paired him with Diggs. I'm like, it's going to be a huge game for Diggs. And of course, you needed 2 or even 3 of his pass catchers with him, easily the highest implied total. But 2 things I wanted to talk about. One, running backs. Even though Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler all smashed, it was a question of, you could get that value for $2,000 to $3,000 cheaper in the way that Breece Hall and Mostert and Lenny Fournette and Jeff Wilson Jr. went off. So sometimes when you're looking at that, right, that's the first thing. You look at, okay, I can pay this for these guys, but these guys are in really good matchups and they have the volume. And then the last thing is, you pivoted, and you were talking about it on the Wood Show, about the Dallas defense being popular and looking at some other defenses, and it worked out nicely. Jared Goff, outdoors, on the road, not very good, but good for the Patriots defense. But then sometimes things work out in the chalk hits too, because you turn around and 90 seconds into the game, and we had talked about it on the morning show, that this version of Matt Stafford, great first season, got the ring. This doesn't look like it's going to go well for McVay, Stafford, the Rams, a scoop and score. And now you're like, God damn it, even though I got the pivot defense right, the chalk Dallas D for 2,500 gets to 23 fantasy points. And I think a lot of us were gun shy about going back to it because of the experience we had with Cincy in Dallas the opening week of the season. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And that Dallas matchup, we talked about it all week, all the shows. I mean, it was the perfect spot. I even talked it up as being an easy winner because it literally didn't make sense. Sometimes games just don't make sense. Like the Rams have looked terrible and they're favored by 5.5 over a team that's looked great. And the team that struggled, what's their biggest weakness? O-line. The team that's played great, what's their best strength? D-line. Like, I still am speechless that they were favored by 5.5 or 6. Doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes when it looks easy, maybe the books know something and you end up feeling like an idiot. This was one of the times. Even the quotes out of the Dallas locker room were like, man, it was easy. How are we an underdog? Like, they can't block. It was just a straight matchup on paper. But, yeah, it did suck. I mean, New England had it posted. And Dallas right away, like you said, gets in the box, and you just know that all day they were going to get pressure. It was what it was. I think New England still outscored them, I think, but it was close. It wasn't really a big factor either way. And yeah, it was kind of a sick sweat at the end too for me because I had Cooper Kupp. No one had Cooper Kupp, but there was like 7 Higbees right within range of me where if Higbee outscored Kupp, like in the fourth quarter, all of them would have had a chance to go ahead of me. Obviously, you want the Kupp side, and he ended up winning. But when it's 1-on-7 and you're either going to get first or maybe like 8th, it's a little bit of a sweat, especially when Higbee's your dump-off guy. You're down like 9 or 10, whatever they were down, and they're just going to keep dumping it off to him and let him run 4 yards. One catch, 4 yards. One catch, 5 yards. It's a little bit of – and then Kupp had a nervous moment too where he came up a little injured there for a minute, which would have sucked too. But I don't know, fun day. And we got to keep this momentum going at Run Pure. I mean, you could go down the list from back when – I think it was 2 weeks ago you hit a Friday night baseball, I think. But it's been everyone, all hands on deck at Run Pure. Uncle T on the heater, JT, everybody down the list. Hoops Millie last week on Sunday. Locks last Monday night, everyone 2 Mondays ago. I mean, the list is getting long. The haters are not enjoying it out there. And I don't think it's stopping anytime soon because I know for a fact, I'm not just saying it because it's my site and our site. We have the best team. I know we do. Our team is very, very deep. When you can see guys down the list a little bit that are incredible knowledge, incredible players in the chat all day grinding, it's an unstoppable force. I'll say that much.
Yeah, Uncle T, your uncle, my guy, Uncle T, shipped. I think it was the early slate yesterday.
He almost got the full ship too. He was over my house. He was he was digging in the trenches a little bit. He was ready.
He was excited. That continues a big week for him because he hit for more than 11K in MLB on Thursday night, the opening night of the wild card round. It's Thursday or Friday. I can't remember. The days kind of run together, but we'll get into this. And that's the thing. If you're not a member, go ahead, go to Run Pure Sports, sign up. We've got, as Big T was saying, we've got his player pool, JSU's player pool, AP's heat map. DC does a player pool for Major League Baseball. The showdowns here, once we get to the division series and the World Series, Tony, that's a strength of yours. I know you're going to be in there with the player pool showdown, which we're about to talk about. And it's just amazing. And yesterday, talked about Hoop first. He's given away, I don't know, it felt like 35 tickets to the 333 on the Wood Show in the morning. Then he comes in and he's answering questions from members in the Discord. This is a guy who a week ago won $1 million. A couple of weeks before that, won a couple $100,000. And he's in Discord answering 2v2 questions. If you're not a member, runpuresports.com. And hit that like button, 764. Here are the rules in case you just jumped in. Hit the like, hit subscribe. We get to 600. We're giving away a 222 showdown ticket tonight. We get to 750. If you're the 750th person to hit the like button, you're getting a free month of membership to Run Pure Sports. We'll worry about how we figure that out later. And Big T is going to give away a second 222 ticket if we get to that 750 number. So while 600 is nice, 750 is the real target. We'll get into this showdown game now, Big T. It is a good one in terms of football. And
before you even get into it, I don't want to interrupt your mojo,
absolutely,
but your specialty is baseball and the Braves. we got to talk just 2 seconds of baseball here, because I think the edge in the playoffs, you talked about it, Uncle T shipping. I know I had a couple decent nights too. I think the edge is massive in the playoffs. And now we get to the big boys. We had the appetizer where they beat up each other a little bit, but the big boys are coming in tomorrow for a 4-gamer. And then we get a bunch of 2-gamers and some showdowns, which we know we all love. The edge is massive, and I don't think people realize it's another reason to sign up at Rumpier, because you get all these sports for one price. But what are these Braves? Can anybody beat our Braves? They treated us good last year. Are they going to treat us again good again this year?
Well, I'll tell you, I think between the Phillies and the Cardinals, it wasn't for me a desire to see one team more than the other, because I think that St. Louis starting pitching with guys like Jose Quintana and Jordan Montgomery. I mean, they go from, Quintana was already in the NL Central, but what a huge boost for Jordan Montgomery going from the American League East to the NL Central. And he looked absolutely amazing when he pitched against the NL Central. Against anyone else, he was the same old Jordan Montgomery. As far as can the Braves win this, I think the only area for me that I looked at the Braves when these playoffs started and I said, I wish we had more starting pitching, especially with Strider and the oblique. It looks like
Is there no chance he's coming back?
They said it's possible. I don't know if the rosters have been finalized yet, but it would be comforting to see him on the roster. But listen, you go with Max Fried. Philly has been terrible against left-handed pitching recently. Quintana shut them down. I don't know why they took Quintana out of that game. Ali Marmol, the game one.
Managers love doing that crap. Like, guy will be mowing and they just they get trigger happy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I think you look at, they've handled Zach Wheeler. They've been 50-50 on Nola. Having to start, it looks like Ranger Suarez tomorrow. Not the best circumstance for the Phillies to come into, but where I think the Braves are much, much deeper is both in the bullpen and then down 5 through 9 of that batting order. So I think it's deep. I think the Braves have a reasonably good shot to continue that run. And then you look at the matchup out west, and all of a sudden the Padres are hot. And they come in, they beat Scherzer, they beat DeGrom, they beat Chris Bassett like a stepchild last night. So, I mean, can the Dodgers mow through them? Sure, of course it's possible. But I think you look at the Dodgers starting pitching and you've got some question marks. Clayton Kershaw, history in the playoffs has been so-so. The team was cold for the last 2 weeks prior to ending the season. They had nothing to play for. But then you're going to see guys like Tyler Anderson, Dustin May. We know how these guys coming back from Tommy John can be great one day, absolutely terrible the next. They've got a great back end of the bullpen. I think that's going to be a good series too. So I do think the Braves can get beyond the Phillies here and at least make it back to the NLCS. And then the American League side, what do you think here? Because I think Cleveland has a pretty decent shot to take out the Yankees.
I think the AL's more open than people think. And Seattle has like the mojo. We talk mojo all the time at Run Pure. They have the ultimate mojo. Like, they just feel like they're going to make a run. It's one of those runs. It reminds me of the Rockies back in whatever year it was, where they just got hot and couldn't lose for like 2 straight months. And they ended up getting killed in the World Series, but they made the World Series, I think, without even losing a game or something. So I don't know. They look really hot. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the AL because I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Cleveland versus Seattle even. I think the AL is wide open. I think the NL is more cut and dry, Braves, Dodgers, and I don't really see an upset in those two, but I'm looking forward to it. I love the baseball playoffs, and like I said, I think people play it too much like the regular season. In the playoffs, you play a cheap guy and they get you like a single double. Sometimes it goes a long way compared to the regular season where you're used to these full slates needing friggin' 15 points from everybody. That's not like that in the playoffs at all, and I don't think people adjust enough.
And on that note, I'll drop one little nugget, then we'll get to this game. So I came in 8th in the $15 on, I guess it was Friday, the first night of the wild card. And here's what I did that you would almost never do during the regular season, but made some sense with weaker bullpens for some of these teams and the starting pitcher. We talked about what Ali Marmol did, pulling these guys earlier. I set the rule to say you can play 3 hitters in the same lineup against my starting pitcher, knowing that in this case, I actually think it may have been the Cardinals pitcher or something like that. Maybe it was Quintana, and I played 3 Phillies. But I set the rule knowing that these guys are going to come out earlier. Not a lot of people are going to do this. And the variance in the playoffs is wild because the atmosphere, the crowd, the attention, and how guys process that, particularly some of these younger relievers that have not been in these massive crowd situations. I mean, some of these guys from Cleveland, going into New York, there's going to be some butterflies there when you come out of that bullpen in Yankee Stadium in the 7th inning. Same thing in some of these other parks. So I did that. It worked out well. Got me to 8th. Didn't get me all the way to 1st. But, hey, that's a good night, and it could work.
We got a month left. You're going to get to that winner's circle. These playoffs, I seen JT Hayes in these playoffs. He gets things done. It's
going to be good. It's going to be good. And tomorrow the boys are going to have a show at 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be headed to Truist because I'm going to be at the 1 o'clock game tomorrow. It's going to be an exciting scenario. But first, we've got to continue the heater. You mentioned it, what you did yesterday, Uncle T. Can't forget about our guy, Kevin Fallick. Kevin Fallick, this is the way he plays, man. He takes these stands that put himself on an island because he believes one way in one particular script. And last night it worked out massively. 75,000 total in cash and tickets. He'll be playing this tonight. He'll be answering questions in Discord.
People always talk about him too, and I've known Fallick as long as anyone. We met a while ago. He does this, man. Like you said, like people make fun of him, including me. I've made fun of him plenty with some of his bad takes. But one of the advantages to play how he plays is there more variance? 1,000,000%. Mm-hmm. But when you're right, and when some of the chalk and different paths miss, your path to victory is so much cleaner than going a normal build where you got to get through all this chalk. And it's perfect. It's what I love about Rumpier too. You got different ideas. It's not just an optimizer spitting out the projections of who to play. It's a bunch of different opinions. Yeah, we don't agree. You shouldn't want us all to agree. If we all agreed, there'd be problems and there wouldn't be an edge. So you got guys like Fallick in there that will give you a 3 max, which is completely different strategy. And I think people really enjoy, and then they can think for themselves if there's different thoughts. You don't have to follow anything. Just read it all, soak it all in, and form your own opinion. Go with whatever you think. It's how it should be.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The I guess the biggest thing I could say for him, there's a lot of things I could say that are positive, but one is, to me, having that discipline, right? The discipline to say, this is how I'm going to play, and doing that slate after slate after slate after slate, because knowing, like last night, when he's right and on these contrarian takes, he's going to win so much. He's going to profit so much because it's just, you're getting lower ownership in a completely different build. So congrats again to Kevin Fallick for a big hit last week. We'll get on now.
I got one last clarification. As we're 25 minutes in, it won't go. The game will actually be easy to get through.
Yeah.
I forgot when I'm sending these tickets, because I used to be able to make it easy. First, I had Draftkings used to be easier, and then my dude got fired or something, so that got rid of one thing. And then I used to send the tickets on PayPal, and my damn PayPal's froze. So you got to have Venmo to get cheese from me. So if you're a winner, you got to have Venmo. I'm sorry. If you don't have Venmo, I don't have a way to get you the money currently. So that's the only clarification. 600 likes. 750 likes, 2 tickets, 1 ticket also in the live show chat. It's got to come from my Venmo though. So if you don't have Venmo, that's it.
Yeah, that's right. So right now, hit the like with one hand, enter your bank information, download Venmo on the other. It's really simple. I think you can do it pretty immediately. Just set up the Venmo account so you can accept the ticket while you're furiously hitting the like and subscribe and going to check out our membership options. Tonight, we've got the Raiders going into Kansas City. The Chiefs 7-point favorites. Implied totals here for the Raiders 22.25. For the Chiefs 29.25, 51.5 total. It's up 1 point. It's going to be nice in Kansas City. Partly cloudy, mid-60s. For Kansas City, Harrison Butker is out. Juju Smith-Schuster questionable. Defensive end Michael Dana and guard Trey Smith are questionable. For the Raiders, pretty healthy. Linebacker Jason Brown is out. Cornerback Sam Webb and tight end Foster Moreau. Probably the biggest news there on Foster Moreau, just because he is $800 on DraftKings, is questionable as well. These two teams very familiar with each other. The Chiefs winning 3 of the last 4. Big T, is this a game where we see that the Raiders are coming off, finally getting off the schneid, getting a win at home against the Broncos, the Chiefs coming off of a nice win, pretty easy game themselves last Sunday night against Tampa Bay. Is this one that you can see with that 7-point total, Chiefs going to run away with this? And maybe it's a night to look one-sided on the Chiefs side and take some chances on some of these lower-owned guys?
So, yeah, I'm glad you said this, and I'm feeling good today. We're giving tickets. We're getting a lot of likes. I mean, we're at 572 right now, under 1,000 watching. I feel good. It was a good weekend. Love Monday Night Football. I feel like there's big edge tonight, and it's kind of what you said. I think Kansas City, I'm just going to give it all out today because I like it. I'm feeling good. But Kansas City, I think, owns the Raiders. The Raiders, yeah, they look good, but, man, it was against the Broncos, who we saw on Thursday yet again are a total disaster on the offensive side of things. Their defense is fine, but the Raiders were able to just run all over them. I really, really like the Chiefs tonight. And the good part about the Chiefs, your captain pool really gets narrowed on top of it. And to be honest, it's 2, Mahomes and Kelsey. So, like, if you can narrow your entire player pool down to 2 captains immediately, and they're both like studs like that, it really narrows the field down a lot. And yeah, I mean, could the Raiders show up? Could Devontae Adams have a big game? I love Devontae still, even though I like the Chiefs, but I don't like him as much as Mahomes and Kelsey, and they're the same price. So I'm going to get Devontae out of there. And I don't know. I really like the Chiefs. I mean, you look at the scores. I know it's not the same team. I'm the first one that said that even. I didn't think the Chiefs looked great early, but 48-9, 41-14 last year, both games, just routes. Mahomes has always had this team figured out. A couple years ago, 40-9, 28-10, 35-3. In 2020, they played pretty close games, but for the most part, Mahomes has owned the Raiders, and I don't think it's changing tonight. I love Kansas City tonight.
You talked about captains here on the Kansas City side with Mahomes and Kelsey. Obvious captain choices there. With Juju Smith-Schuster questionable but expected to play, as someone did say in chat per Tom Pelissero from the NFL Network, would you give any thought, or I'm going to guess that you don't think you need it because you're not going to be spending up on the Raiders side. Would you give any thought to maybe Valdez-Scantling as a captain based on his number of targets? I personally wouldn't go Juju, but would you go Juju?
Yeah, I can't go Juju. I'm with you. We're definitely arm in arm there. I mean, he could he? Obviously, he could. Any receiver in Showdown that's on the field has a chance. I mean, receiver, it's so much easier for them to get to the winner's circle. Juju, he hasn't looked great. We made fun of him looking like a tight end, being fat. We had all the jokes, but now he's starting to spring up. What was it, a hamstring? What was the – why is he questionable? Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter to my point. Like being a fat dude, like who knows? I don't love him. I'd rather go, like you said, MVS. The dude can't catch the football. He killed me again. What was it, 2 weeks ago or last week, whatever it was? Had big drop at the end of a game that would have. I think that was the night. Was that the night Locke shipped? It might have been where I had the huge swing. If it was. Because if MVS just caught that ball, it would have prolonged the drive. It killed more time. Dude dropped an easy ball. But Showdown's all about upside. The dude could house 2 bombs any game he plays, especially with Mahomes out there. I think he's a very good. I probably won't get to him, but I agree. 5,200 also gives you some flexibility to be able to play. I don't have it in. Well, hold on, I'll put it in real quick while we're sitting.
So if you wanted Derek Carr, he's 10-2. Josh Jacobs is 8-8, and Darren Waller.
Yeah, I don't want Carr. Carr sucks. Do you think Carr sucks?
I think he's in decline for sure.
So I just changed my mind about MVS captain. This is why I like to do the show, though. I haven't done any builds. I haven't run any numbers. I like to do this because it really shows. So if you plug MVS captain in, which I just said I loved, you can play literally Mahomes and Kelsey with it. Adams or Carr, which I obviously prefer Adams, but or Jacobs, any of those guys. And you got 4K for your last two spots, which leaves us in that comfort zone, right? Where we got kickers, defenses, value guys. If you could give me my preference every showdown slate, if I can play 4 guys I believe in my last two spots leaves me 4K a piece, that's the sweet spot. That is where I want to be. And MVS gets you exactly to that 4K sweet spot. So changed my mind. I got 3 captains now tonight.
MVS's lowest price point of the season. I want to read something in chat. I don't know if this is going to be enough to get you the ticket, by the way. 622, 1,049 watching. We're giving away now a 222 ticket to tonight's showdown because we got above 600. We get to 750. There's a second ticket giveaway, and whoever hits the 750th like gets a free month's membership to Run Pure Sports. Don't worry about how we'll know who it was. Dominic Brown, you guys have changed the way that I play fantasy. I used to, we won't talk about other people, but we know who's the real number one. Keep up the good work and Run Pure. Dominic, thank you.
Let's give him the first ticket. I like that response.
Dominic Brown, there it is. Hit up BigT44 DFS on Twitter. Give him your Venmo. If you don't have it already, go ahead and download.
You better get it, because if you tell me you don't got it, we're moving on to the next one, Dominic.
And enter you got. So let's see, you got 15 minutes to hit up BigT44 DFS on Twitter. Unless you're a member, then just hit him up in the Discord, and he'll be checking his messages. 6:38 on.
You got to get in that contest. The 3 winners. We had a few people over the years where you send them the money and then they don't get in. I don't like that. You got to get in the contest. This is about building the bankroll up a little bit. Some people that maybe can't get in, we're trying to give you a chance. Don't be the guy that just cashes the 222 in and doesn't play it. Don't be that dude.
Don't just transfer it to your bank account and go buy some methamphetamine. That is not what it is.
We like to sweat too, right? Like, what would be better than giving one of our people watching this show a ticket and having them ship tonight for 100K or whatever first place is in that thing?
It'd be fantastic. We talked about this yesterday with Swint. I mean, 38th place in the Wishbone, which is no joke of a contest. It's a 150 max with all of the best DFS players. He gets the free ticket, comes in 38th. I think it was like 3,500. Now he's set. He's playing that again next week. He's going to give himself a chance twice to get some big victories.
That's what you should do too, right? Try to springboard it, because you got to take chances if you ever want to really, really run it up. I mean, sure, you can have fun playing the little stuff forever. That's what a lot of people, it's perfect for them. But if you ever truly want to like scale up and stuff, you got to take a few gambles, even if that means going broke and rebuilding it. You still got to take some stabs every once in a while.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how you get, we were just talking about Kevin Fallick, right? He looks at the game and he says, this is what I believe is going to happen. Looks at the slate. This is what I believe is going to happen. And whereas even when I first started playing, I was a little bit shy about doing that. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Can this team really hit this pitcher? All this stuff. He just blocks it all out and boom, this is what I'm doing. If I win, it's going to be great. If I lose, we're on to tomorrow. Speaking of on to tomorrow, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. 654 on our way up to 750. That's the number this week. Let's talk about the Vegas side here. The big pieces here: Derek Carr 10-2 on DraftKings, Jacobs 8-8. We said Devontae Adams 11-4. Hunter Renfrow is back 5.8. Interesting price point here. I know that you are the vice president of the Hunter Renfrow fan club, so I'm sure that you have interest in him. And then listen, Darren Waller 7.2K on DraftKings. We haven't seen anything from him really this year. It looks like he's kind of the odd man out in this receiver mix now that Devontae is there. 2 questions on the Vegas side, and I think I know the answer to number 1. Are you interested in any Raiders as a captain option? And then would you go beyond those guys that I talked about? So beyond Carr, Jacobs, I know Hollins had a big game a couple of weeks ago. Adams or Waller or Renfrow?
Yeah, I'm just not going Raiders captain tonight. I just can't see it. I think the Chiefs handled this team. I think it's a fairly easy victory for them too. I just don't see the game being close. So this is why I love Showdown, because full slate. Granted, I did do good yesterday and I've had some good slates at times, but it's not as fun. I sent the tweet last week. When we do Showdown, we can pick the script. We can go with it. We can really narrow it down. When you do a full slate, You need a lot more to go right. You need a lot of scripts to go your way, different things like that. I just love the showdown format. And nights like tonight, I just think are easy because I feel a certain way. Like sometimes you're not certain. Like last Thursday, Broncos freaking Colts. Like how could you feel good about anything in a game like that? Tonight, though, I just feel like they get handled. If I was playing a Raiders captain, though, it would be Devontae would be it. Renfro, like I didn't like him last year when he was the main guy. I like him even less this year because he's just not going to get the volume with Devontae and Waller there, and especially Devontae mainly. And they're okay running the ball too. So at 5,800, I can almost guarantee you I'll be full fading Hunter Renfro. I just can't see him getting there. I mean, if he gets like 10 and that's enough, that would be how I see him hitting the winner. I don't think it'll be enough though tonight at 5,800. Like I think MVS is a way better upside play at the similar price point. Waller, I don't love Waller either. This is the nice part about my script tonight is I really like the Chiefs and I don't really like hardly anything from the Raiders, which opens up playing Devontae, Waller, Mack, cheap guy, kicker, even defense. We talked about that on some of the whistle shows. All those moves, though, I can play one or two of those spots. I don't need to go crazy with Raiders. Just jam in the Chiefs and just go with it. As I see our boy Kevin coming in to take his victory lap from last night.
No, I was worried. I was waiting for whistles, so I didn't want to take his spot, but I felt like it was appropriate at this point because what's the one position that's been exposing Kansas City this season so far? Anybody know? JT?
I want you to tell us.
The correct answer would be the
teaser show. We give winners here. You just come in and tell us.
The correct answer would be the tight end position. Like,
so
Cameron Brate should have had 2 touchdowns in the first half against Kansas City last week.
Do you think that's, in fairness though, right? I think when you look at the Bucs and Kate Otten had a nice day yesterday for someone who normally doesn't get to see the field. Do you think that's more a product of the way the Bucs offense flows, where the tight end is very much involved? Versus,
but I think you have the same situation with the Raiders. Like the Colts did the same thing. Jelani Woods had 2 touchdowns. They got the ball to Granson some. They got the ball to Mo Alley Cox. It's the same situation. Zach Ertz did pretty well in the first game, even though he wasn't a focus of the offense. Like he was able to expose them too. So I think that this is a Waller day, especially at the price tag.
So you think 7.2 is a good price tag for him in this matchup? Are you leaning but you're solely looking at him in flex, right?
Yes. I anticipate playing. My hope is that I'm going to be able to play Patrick Mahomes in the captain spot and just lock him in the captain tonight. That's my hope.
All right.
I love Tony's take on MVS. I think MVS is the only, except for Kelsey and the kicker, the only players. Let me say, JSU tried to talk me onto Pacheco, and I'm very interested in hearing the running back situation in Kansas City. It's a very interesting situation that they have going on right now. When you look at the numbers, Pacheco, whenever he's on the field, he's getting used, and so I think that's the interesting thing. His question is how much is he going to be on the field? I don't know. But I don't have any interest in any other receiver for Kansas City. If they just like last night, if they beat me, they beat me. Like Justin Watson, if he beats me, he beats me. If Juju injured beats me, okay.
So when you say no other receivers, you're talking Kelsey and MVS, and that's it.
Yeah, Kelsey and MVS with the kicker, and I want to hear from y'all on the running backs. So.
Well, this was exactly the question that I was going to ask Big T here next, which is, considering that you feel the way about this game that I do, and it sounds to a degree like Kevin does as well, that you feel that this is a trailing game script for the Raiders. One, how interested does that make you, or how much interest does it take away from playing Josh Jacobs here, number one? And number two, all the speculation about, hey, Pacheco, he looked explosive. He looked better than CEH. Look, every year we see this, right? Andy hates CEH. He hates CEH. Andy just can never decide on which running back he wants to play. I mean, maybe they come up to him and they, give him grief in the running back room and say, come on, coach, put me in. But if you see this as a runaway game for Kansas City, you have to have some interest in Pacheco because he's going to be the guy that gets all the fourth quarter work.
Yeah, what are you saying to me? My fault.
Yes.
I mean, I agree with you guys. And just eyeball testing. I sent the tweet earlier making fun of the people, but watch the games definitely has edges to me. And you look across the industry tonight, McKinnon higher projected than Pacheco, and I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I played McKinnon last game. I did. I was on the McKinnon side of Pacheco, but then I watched the game. They clearly liked Pacheco more. Like the dude was playing over him, and he's better. He's a rookie. McKinnon's what, 8 years in the league now? I don't know how long. He's been around a while though. He's fragile. I mean, they would love to get a young dude in there, young legs. I'm definitely on Team Pacheco. I think they want to get these rookies more involved as the year goes, which means Sky Moore too, who is slowly getting more and more into the mix here as we go. So I won't be playing McKinnon. He looked like the third wheel to me last game, and I'm just stunned. This is where we can get an edge at Run Pure. The projections just can't account for eyeball test. I'll say it till the end of time. I don't care that people think we're idiots when we say stuff like this. I just don't believe it. I watching it, I don't believe they like McKinnon more than Pacheco. So I don't understand the projection personally. And I love Pacheco tonight. I think he's a very, very good play. As long as JT said it best, as long as you think Kansas City is playing from ahead, up 7-14 or more, I think he's a good play. If you think the Raiders win, I don't think he's as good of a play. Still in play, but not as good of a play. Whereas you flip it, I think Jacobs, if the Raiders are losing, which I think they are, I wouldn't play Jacobs at all in that build. It doesn't make sense. I would play even like Brandon Bolden, a blast from the past that we've used on Showdown plenty of times. If they're playing from behind, he's a pass catching guy that I think is a better play, and he's 2K, which again, back to the build we just talked about. You got 4K. All of a sudden you plug in Brandon Bolden in our script. You got 6K for your last spot. You can literally play, I mean, unlimited guys in that spot. There's like 20 different guys you could fill that roster out with. So that's where I'm at. Definitely not McKinnon. Definitely on Pacheco. Edwards-Helaire, I'm indifferent. I don't love, I don't hate. I think he's fine. I think he's definitely, he could be in the winner without a doubt. He could bust without a doubt. So I'm indifferent on him.
We are at 702 likes, 1,220 watching. That's a decent ratio, but we get to 750. We give out that second 222 ticket, and whoever hits the 750th like gets a free membership at Run Pure, assuming you're not already a member. Kevin, the case here, right, that we're talking through this game, and we're seeing that we believe that this is going to be a Chiefs runaway game, and this means that Derek Carr is going to be playing from behind. He's going to have to probably be under a little bit of pressure. Doesn't that make the case a little bit more for dump-offs to Hunter Renfrow in the middle of the field, which is what he does? He's just 5'8". He's coming back.
You're selling Renfrow too hard here.
Well,
you're overselling him. Do you like him?
No, not necessarily, but I'm trying to think through what the Raiders do, right? Let's assume that the Chiefs' game plan is going to be to lock down Devontae Adams, right? And
my game plan is to get skinny. It doesn't mean I'm going to get skinny.
All right. So no matter what, you think it's going to be a situation. Maybe it's a situation like yesterday with the Cowboys and the Rams, and they just say, hey, Cooper Kupp's going to get what he gets, and we'll deal with everybody else.
I just don't think that's I think that the Raiders have some good weapons on their team, much better weapons specifically than the Rams do. And when we're talking Rams, but like I'm the one thing that I will say is that Vegas, again, it was talked about with the Titans game. It's going to be talked about again today. They need to win tonight. They need to win to be able to stay within this race. Like the AFC West is a very.
Do I need to give my same speech I just gave? I need to be skinny. Does it mean I'm good?
But I will say is I think that the Raiders do have at least they have solid defensive players, but they can get exposed. And that's why I like MVS, is because I feel like they can get exposed by at the cornerback position quite a bit. We saw it with Robert. Like, I was at the game when Robert Woods was able to do whatever he wanted on the field that game. Unfortunately, he didn't do that yesterday, but he was able to do anything he wanted against the Raiders secondary that game. So that's why I like a guy like MVS.
I can't believe what Robert Woods is dead to me.
He's dead to me too. So that makes two of us on this show. He pissed me off yesterday.
How do you disappoint in us? I can't. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Kevin, it sounds like you believe this is a more competitive game.
I think it's more competitive than what y'all are saying, but it doesn't make me interested.
He thinks it's a blowout. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it's a blowout. I think that the question
I think it's going to be 38-6.
Okay, I 100% disagree with that.
I'm on Big T's side. I think you can't discount how bad Denver is. And they're all excited that they got a win over the Broncos. Yeah. And now they go into Arrowhead. And I just think it's going to be like watching the Chiefs play a Pee Wee team. I mean, that's kind of the feeling I have. Listen, the point was made earlier when we talked about some of these games, though. They did basically handle them last year. The year before that, the games were much more competitive. So certainly you never know what can happen there. But Kevin, I'll stay with you here. You mentioned locking in Mahomes, no interest in any other captains, no interest in maybe going down to MVS, no interest in Kelsey or any Raiders for you?
I haven't, to be honest, I have not built yet my lineups. I've been having a busy day of dealing with Tony and his Rainbakers cards. It's been a busy day with Tony on those. But no, it's I hope to have Mahomes as my captain is the easiest way to put it. That is my hope, is to have Mahomes as a captain. I think both kickers are in play. I look forward to nobody playing the Kansas City kicker because he's not Harrison Butker. And I feel like there's at least and again, I don't plan to go below Pacheco and the kickers. Like, I want to stay in the mid tier again tonight, like I did last night. The kickers are as low as I want to go. I don't want to play the defenses tonight. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't see a reason to play the kickers when the total is about a 50-point total or whatever it is tonight.
BT, the kicker.
I think I said kickers. I meant defenses, but
so not playing defenses obviously here.
Yeah.
Big T, the kicker that Kevin mentions, references Matthew Wright, 5 of 5 on extra points last week and a field goal. He is just 4K on DraftKings. Talk about your interest level in him, Carlson, any of these defenses, any of these cheap guys. Foster Moreau was getting some targets, some end zone, red zone targets, just 800 if he's back on DraftKings.
Yeah, so start with the kickers. I think the kicker might be the most game log dependent for me of any position in all of Showdown. Literally, I go to the kickers, and obviously this is only week 5 this time, and one of them only kicked one game. But most of the time, teams get into situations where it's pretty consistent throughout the year. Either they don't kick or they kick too much. And you look at the Raiders, they have always been a field goal team. Always, because they drive good, they have lots of players, and then they stall out. It's happened for literally the last 5 years. This year, we look 9, 13, 10, 14. All four games, they've scored 19 or more points, which is about expected tonight, right in that range, 19 plus. 19, 23, 22, 32. They're 4 games this year. Double digits, basically, right in that range, all 4. So you come to these sites, you'll see Carlson projected like 8 to 9 in that range. And I just don't think it's a high enough projection. These are one of the things where the rest of the industry will get mad when you ship with kickers. They're just not projected high enough for me. It's a high-scoring game. These offenses are going to get in spots. If they kick 150-yarder plus a couple extra points, you're just there. And I don't care that the rest of the industry makes fun of the kickers. That's fine. It'll give us to them lower owned. They all, like Felix said last night, 20%. I don't know what they actually came in. Last night was the 2 best possible kickers. So if they won't be higher than that, I promise you that. And they're both just very, very good plays. And Matthew Wright, only 1 game, but it was 12 points. And the Chiefs are going to score. Like, there's no way. Sure, if they don't score, I'm going to lose probably anyways, but they're going to score points. I think both kickers are great plays tonight. Now, I don't like them as much as last night, but I do like them a ton, especially one on a lot of these builds. You probably don't need both tonight. There's cheap guys you can play. There's different angles you can go. I don't think you need both, but both is fine. I like both. Defenses, I'm going to give the same speech we gave a ton of the like the Rams Chiefs that one year where the score was super high. They aren't good plays. So listen all the way through. They aren't good plays, but all it takes is one, and they're going to be totally unowned in a high-scoring game where if you somehow get that turnover to the house and maybe 2 turnovers to the house somehow, is it likely? No. It's a 1 in 100 chance or something, whatever the actual odds are, maybe even higher. But when you get it, you have a unique build to get to the top. It's that even against like Mahomes, say I love Mahomes captain. Literally no one will have the Raiders defense with that. And I don't like the Raiders defense. I'm not going to have them much. But if I play 5% Raiders defense, that gets me just enough uniqueness in there where if something weird happens, just throw it out there. Say the first drive of the game, Mahomes throws a pick 6. You literally are mint. Like you're trailing by 7 right away. You got 8 points locked up in the bank for the defense, the cheap play. And who knows, maybe they return a kick later in the game. Maybe something weird happens, a fumble. You just can't discount stuff like that in Showdown. And people do it. They're just going to run their sims like they always do, and they're going to hope they do what they do, leave salary. I wouldn't totally delete the defenses. And just because you don't like them doesn't mean you can't get lucky.
I want to stay with you on that thought. One second, Kevin. I want to stay with you on that thought. But first, I want to read this comment in our chat from Jordan Newens. He's in here watching all the shows. Thank you, Gordon. AP is probably nonstop rubbing right now, hearing JT and Big T talk up his Chiefs. And then Gordon Powell, who makes fun of kickers. They always talk them up at another site. Gordon, I've got a rule now that I'm a little bit older in life. And if there are things I don't like or people that I don't like, I'm not around them. So if you don't like us and if you want to watch another site shows, there's no harm, no foul. Head on over there instead of infecting our chat with all this negativity. Terrible way to live your life. I want you to be happy. And I want chat to be happy. And they're going to be, because we are now over 750 likes. We're going to hit the second ticket in the live show for the members, $797. I know we can get to 800. Go ahead, Gordon. I gave you the attention you were seeking. Hit the like button on your way out. Tony, I want to stay with you because you're just talking about defenses, and you talked about this yesterday on the Wood Show, and it's a similar situation, although you might, of course, make the argument that Derek Carr has better weapons than Jared Goff did yesterday, but Goff leaving the dome, going outdoors to play on the road. Derek Carr leaving the dome, going outdoors to play on the road in a hostile environment. We were talking about the Major League Baseball playoffs and hostile environments and what that can do to relievers. Could it be said that maybe the Chiefs defense is more in play here than the Raiders?
Definitely for me, because I think Carr is not very good. And I mean, look at his numbers. Denver's defense is good, but 11 fantasy points still. Like, they won the game. They scored 32 points. Granted, they ran a decent amount and they were playing from ahead. Still, though, 11 points. Tennessee, who has one of the worst pass defenses, he got 23. So good game, playing from behind, I think, in that game. Or I don't remember that game script, actually. But Arizona, 18. Chargers, 16. I just don't like Carr tonight. Will I eliminate him totally from my player pool? No, because my script, he's going to be playing from behind the whole game, and I don't want to totally fade a quarterback playing from behind. But I definitely don't like him, and he can make mistakes too. The Chiefs defense at home, rivalry game, definitely I like the Chiefs defense more, without a doubt. But it's also going to be more popular in my builds, right? So say I'm doing all 5-1 and 4-2 builds, which I am. Everyone's going to have the Chiefs D in those builds, right? So just by flipping the defenses, you're way, way, way different. And I don't think it's really that much more variance just to flip the Ds.
Can I ask a question? And this is what I was going to bring up to JT when y'all were talking defenses to start. So the difference between the defenses tonight is that there's one that is priced above the kickers and one that is priced honestly quite a bit below the kickers, talking $600 below the kickers. So if you look at the defense, and you think about the defense, what are the chances? We like these kickers, and while Gordon may tell us we're making mistakes by liking these kickers, which I don't understand, because I'm not saying that there's going to be touchdowns. I'm saying it's going to be an offensive battle tonight. I think that we're going to see a lot of offense, and KC moves fast usually if they want to, and Las Vegas, they also move pretty fast as well at times, if they want to. What are the chances like that Kansas City, if we're projecting 50 points in a game, what are the chances that Kansas City's defense is going to outscore either of these kickers? And that's where I'm really struggling with playing Kansas City. And I think that the Las Vegas is the better defense to play, because you actually have a price difference that allows you to potentially upgrade. And I also want to add, don't forget, I'm on here and I only play 3 lineups. I'll play 4 next week or whatever, because I have more entries, but I'm the 3 lineup guy. So I'm not talking about 150, and you shouldn't play the defenses and stuff like that. You should absolutely play the defenses in 150. But if we're talking about a 3 max strategy, how many times do we think that the defense for the Kansas City Chiefs is going to outscore both of these kickers?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. If the game plays to that 51.5, if it's exactly 29-22, but that's where I think, and you talk about this a lot, right? What script do you see here? Sure. Yesterday's game, again, another division game between Tampa Bay and Atlanta, and that was, I think, 21-14, something like that, went way under the total. You could see the same thing here, especially if Kansas City, although Kansas City, here's the thing, if they get out to a big lead, we talked about Pacheco, they've got the secondary weapons to come in, and they're just going to keep scoring. So, I mean, that's one way to look at it as well. Big T, it's 5. We got about 10 minutes here, so let's get down. And I know you already talked about who you like at captains. Any other interesting off the board flex plays that you may be bumping up their projection or looking to get in? Or one of the things that I was doing, and we should all be doing as we're playing these showdowns, is starting to look at groups. Who do I want of these bunch of players? Just one of these guys, right? And mostly these are going to be your $200, $600, $800 guys that you think, if something wild happens, this guy can get in the box and be a difference maker. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think everyone pretty much knows where I'm at, but it will come down to some sneaky play, especially if my script hits. Like, say the Chiefs do kill them, these studs do good. Like, you're going to need something to differentiate. And just for me, the guys that stick out the most are Pacheco, like we talked about, 4,800, and Brandon Bolden. Like, I don't think anyone's going to play Brandon Bolden. And in my script, I just think he's a great play. He's come through for me a ton in Showdown in these type of scripts too. I like him a lot. I'm looking down in the cheap range. So we've seen these tight ends from Kansas City score. This is a good example, I think, for Showdown theory. I could see like Noah Gray, Jody Fortson getting more and more work, but can they get me double digits is the question. I know they're cheaper. And honestly, I'm not sure, because they've been getting more and more like opportunity. They could probably catch 2 touchdowns, but you're more than likely going to need 2 from them to get double digits. And I think you can play them, though, in my script, just because if I don't think the Raiders are going to score that much, you're going to have to take some chances, because outside of Kelsey, it's an unknown, right? Sky Moore, Justin Watson, Noah Gray, Jody Fortson, even Hardman. I would throw all these guys in the same bucket. None of them are reliable. None of them are like go-to guys, but they all could definitely hit the winner on a Mahomes build. And one thing I've been trying to do better this year is, if I have a script like that, don't leave some of these guys out just because. Like, how tilted would I be tonight if I jam the Chiefs, all my builds, 4-2s, 5-1s, Mahomes captain a ton, and all of a sudden Jody Fortson catches 2 touchdowns and I don't have him? Like, I'll be so mad at myself. So in my type of builds, I want to include all these cheap Chiefs guys. So a little bit different than Kevin's strategy, but he's doing different stuff too. He's doing 3 max. He's doing shorter fields. He doesn't need to do that. In my 150, though, I'd be crazy not to play every Chiefs pass catcher that's active. I want at least some of tonight. It will be my approach.
And the goal here, just to be clear, right? One of these guys could catch a touchdown, 50 yards, maybe get in the box twice. you're not looking to play two of these guys together. You're using them primarily so that you can get the higher price players.
I wouldn't say not two together though, just because again, I haven't built any teams. I don't know this. Just say I played a Devontae with the 3 studs build. Say I play all 3 of them and I need 2 cheapies to make it work. I don't think that's totally out of the question tonight. If the 3 studs all get like 25 plus, which I think they could, like say all 3 studs get 30. I think the cheap guys are even more viable because no one's going to have all 3 guys together that much. So I don't know. I like that. We always do forget to talk about FanDuel too, always.
A FanDuel, you're playing 5 guys on those teams, right? And so
and nights like this are even harder, right? Because it's going to be Mahomes or Kelsey or Adams, but it's tough not to play Mahomes in the MVP on FanDuel. So there's not as much strategy tonight. I'll tell you right now what I'm going to do. So I'll do exactly the same thing, but I'm just going to play Mahomes on FanDuel. None of the other guys. Jam the Chiefs. That's my strategy. I mean, people make fun of FanDuel, but nights like this, I don't really see, outside of just doing something crazy like hope Mahomes gets hurt or something and do something weird. I don't see how Mahomes doesn't end up there.
So full 4-1 builds on FanDuel.
Let me also say, I think that we, for some reason, I left off Foster Moreau, and I shouldn't leave him off at that $800 price tag and his role on that offense. I think that he has to be considered in play on DK. Looking at FanDuel, I think you got some nice cheap pieces if you want them. Sky Moore 6K. If you like Sky Moore, Pacheco 7K. Matt Collins, like we just talked about MVS, he's 8K. I think there's some good pieces,
which is even more reason just to jam Mahomes.
Yeah. I don't, and it'll be hard for me to play a kicker on FanDuel with these prices of these special. Like when you look at when you compare the prices, you got MVS who's $1,000 cheaper, $1,500 cheaper than the kickers on FanDuel. It's gonna be tough for me to play a kicker over MVS tonight for sure.
Yeah. Well, 1 point too, just real quick about Foster Moreau on DK mainly. We don't know if he's active yet. He's questionable or whatever he is, but you can put him in there. And if he doesn't play, just pivot to Jesper Horsted. Like he's 200, he's less. Why?
So what they do is if Foster is playing, if Foster is in there, he is actually getting he's going out for routes while Jesper Horsted did not at all.
He didn't run any routes?
Yeah, he like last game, let's see, I was just pulling the numbers. Last game he played, there were 75 snaps and Horsted played 3 total snaps and they were all for run blocking plays.
He played 3 snaps the whole game.
Yeah, and that's even with Renfro being out. So they went to the 3 wide receiver sets. They brought in Keelan Cole, played a lot last game. He's not going to play that much tonight, obviously, with Renfro back, but like they went with 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and then they had either Josh Jacobs or they had Brandon Bolden in. So no, I disagree. I would not touch Jesper. If Foster Moreau is out, I would not. It doesn't mean that Jesper is in play. It means that the wide receivers are more in play because they are going to be on the field much more and they're not going to do a 2 tight end set. But when you look at weeks prior, when you look at like week 2 against the Cardinals, Foster Moreau played 41 plays. And then, like, you have to understand, Hunter Renfrow got injured. He played 46. There were a total of 67. Foster Moreau went out on passes 20 times out of 41 and run blocked for 18. Pass blocked only for 3. So it's a great percentage there. Darren Waller was on the field just as much, 37 plays, 26 pass routes.
JT, get us back. I can't listen to Foster Moreau and Jesper any longer. I felt like I was listening to JSU for a minute there. He was going on too long about Jesper.
Okay.
Kevin Todd.
It was a token play. I only needed the first 30 seconds where you gave me the answer.
Don't play Horsted.
That's all I needed was don't play him.
Don't play him.
60 snaps to 3 with Moreau out. And the other thing, if Moreau is in, and Kevin, I'll flip this to you because you joined us about mid-show, so I want to give you a chance to give out some of the other guys that you're interested in at lower ownership. But if Moreau is in, that brings up the point. Moreau is in, Renfroe is back. All of a sudden, similar situation to what we were talking about with Tampa Bay yesterday. Now there's just a lot of mouths to feed. There's just a lot of guys that are going to maybe get a few targets, a little bit harder for some of these other guys, including Darren Waller, to really have that big upside game. I know you like Waller. Thoughts on that, and then thoughts on some of these other guys that you might be looking at that a lot of people aren't, and then we'll flip it back to Tony and get out of here.
Yeah, no, the difference is that there's still only 6 guys on Las Vegas, and the prices are appropriate for their roles on the team, in my opinion. So you're looking at like Mac Hollins, who, if Foster is out, Mac Hollins has to be in play for you. Same with Hunter Renfrow. Those are both priced, I think, fairly. Devontae Adams is priced fairly for what he has and what his upside is. And Darren Waller is also in that position. If Foster Moreau is in, it could be a little bit of an issue to Darren Waller, if anybody. But I'm going to be focusing in on, I'm not going to play Josh Jacobs. I'm not playing Brandon Bolden or any of the running backs for Vegas. But I'll be focusing in on those receivers depending on news. And it's a nice thing is that we get the news an hour and a half in advance. We can make some decisions, and we got a great Discord. We got a great site that we can put all this information in. You won't have the answer until we get the news on Foster Moreau. As silly as that sounds, Foster Moreau is going to impact some decisions for Vegas. And then on the Kansas City side, again, I anticipate playing the Pacheco. I play MVS, Kelsey, and Mahomes, and then the kicker. Those are really the only guys that I want to play. Again, I'm playing 3 lineups. If I were playing 150, I'd be looking at plenty of Sky Moore. I'd be looking at plenty of, like, throwing in a little bit of Justin Watson, because nobody's going to play him. Nobody's thinking Noah Gray. Like, I could not imagine not playing Noah Gray when he gets the touchdown at the 2-yard line when they're doing a double tight end and he's the guy. Like, totally different structure and strategy, but I'm not going to be playing them in a 3 max.
Anthony Watson in the winner, not last week, but the last time that the Chiefs were on a showdown. Big T, take us home. Yeah. Give us what's going to happen in this game. Give us one guy who's going to go off that people should play that maybe aren't thinking about. 875 likes out of 1,400. Very nice. Excellent job on that to everyone who's watching. We are going to pick that winner for the second.
I'm giving two winners away in the live show chat because they've earned it. I'm going to say them real quick because I did throw in that I'll be playing more showdown lineups next week or whenever this 33 is, because I was lucky enough to win 4 tickets instead of 3 last night, and hopefully I'll win some more tonight. But trying to find the messages. Loaded for Bear put out K Fowler going off Brandon, rolling out 4 lineups. I don't know what I can do, and he's got like the face like of the very confused guy. And so he's going to get one, and then K Reed immediately responds with, "Give one away, Phallic, you asshole." So those 2 will be getting tickets for the perfect back-to-back on those. So shoot me a message in Discord for your tickets.
Excellent. Good mojo. Kevin loves the tough love, by the way, as you guys can tell. Tony, thoughts?
Yeah. So everyone knows where I'm at. Chiefs heavy. I think MVS is probably my favorite, like, sneakier type play. He's not going to be like low owned or anything, but yeah, I don't know. I gave all my thoughts. Pretty much know where at. I already gave 2 of the tickets. Third winner is going to be Michael Cox. He said Tony didn't need Chubb yesterday. Mostert made him full 6 to midnight. You're right. Mostert hurt my feelings a few weeks. It felt good to see him he did get screwed out of a second touchdown, fell on the inch line, but it was a good day for Mostert. Michael Cox, you got the last ticket. Thanks for watching today too, and I appreciate that. Slide in though. Give me your Venmo.
That's right. Download the app. Go ahead and enter your bank information. 902. The After Hours crew going to get us over 1,000. Thank you.
After Hours crew's been coming through on the Monday show for us.
They might get us to 1,500 here today. So yeah. It's going to be great. But go ahead, guys. Get in Discord once the news breaks.
If they get it to 1,500, we'll give another ticket next week.
Ooh, another ticket next week. That's where you will see us next week on the same show, the Monday Print Factory. Kevin Phallic, thanks for joining us. Big T, excellent to see you. Your player pool will be up here in just about a couple of hours, maybe a little bit more than that, given that the game starts at 8:15. For Tony, for Kevin, Simon, please get us out of here.